welcome to the Festival of Storytellers. I thank everybody that's involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.
Aloha and welcome to my live author booth session. My name is Dr. Theresa Wee, and I am also an author as well as a private practicing pediatrician for the past 40 years. I'm so happy you could spend a few minutes with me. My passion has been to help the community become healthier, both mind, body, and spirit. I think with COVID and everything around us happening right now, there is such a great need to be an encouragement, to give people practical tips to move forward. Briefly, let me just explain my two books. My first book, The Happy Healthy Revolution, is a summary of my passion to help obese children. Obesity now is the number one crisis. It's becoming not only in our nation, but worldwide. And so in this book, I talk about how working parents can work as a family unit to all become healthier. And then the second book, just a brief summary from March 2020 to December 2020, when we had COVID. I wrote daily blogs to keep in touch with my patients, family, and loved ones. And in it, I would give different practical tips that I was using myself, as well as using my experience as a physician and trying to help everyone get through this pandemic. And so this is my passion, to just get out, reach out of these four walls in my office and really just be an encouragement and a resource for families and people of all ages. So even if you don't have children, you can pick up the book and it'll be helpful, because we're all aunties or uncles, or we have siblings, younger siblings. I think these two books can really benefit everyone. So today's topic I wanted to talk about would be about sleep. Why good sleep is essential for good health. And I think for all of us, number one, why do we even need sleep? Right now, I hear people bragging, hey, I got only 4 hours of sleep, and that's almost like a red badge of courage. But now, as we do more and more studies, even after the COVID pandemic, I'm starting to see more and more sleep studies coming out. And really, sleep is the time when our bodies will repair and rebuild. we really need it. It's so essential for our mental processing, our memory. It's also essential for our mood. There are other things that start to come into play, and it actually affects our physical health and especially our mental health. Now, I've been there. We all go to sleep, and you're lying there and you're like, oh, just go to sleep. And we just, we're just waiting for that magic moment. But I can tell you, as someone, I, in my past, have gone through 2 bouts of depression. And when you cannot get that sleep, that can be one of the most frustrating things in the entire world. You are just not ready. Something that came so naturally when you were younger. But what I wanted to talk about today is a little bit about the science behind sleep. And then we can move on to practical tips to help you sleep. So the science behind sleep, our bodies are so amazing. We have signals in our brain, and there's a wake cycle and a sleep cycle. And chemicals, there are 2 chemicals that are produced in our body that help sleep. The first one I want to talk about is melatonin. So melatonin is released in our brain starting in the late night, and it goes well into the early morning. Now, when our body is sleep deprived, the melatonin may not be sufficient, so it makes it much harder for your body to get to sleep, which is why sometimes there are these melatonin supplements. The second chemical that's important is called serotonin, and that's a precursor to the melatonin, but the serotonin will affect the brain's mood. So it sometimes can be a byproduct of anxiety, depression. But anyway, so one of the big regulators for these body chemicals to be released, and this is very important, are the foods we eat. So I want to just, tomorrow I'm going to talk about nutrition and wellness, but let me just briefly, before we go to the next slide, I'll briefly talk about a few foods that are very helpful for sleep and a few foods that we should try to avoid at bedtime. The foods that are good would be nuts, turkey, or chickpeas. They have tryptophan. After Thanksgiving, we want to fall asleep. Also, non-caffeinated herbal tea is also very good. There's something called tart cherry juice, and that has melatonin. It's a great source of melatonin. And also bananas also help, as well as some dairy products. So sometimes a little bit of cottage cheese or a warm cup of milk, that will help you to sleep better. Some of the foods that are not so great would be really spicy foods for dinner. That may not settle well in your stomach. The other thing is dark chocolate. Sometimes when we eat it just before bedtime, that may have some, quote, caffeine in it, and it could keep you awake, just as coffee, caffeinated coffee. The other thing that can sometimes keep people up would be red meat, because it's very hard to digest. And then finally, just a lot of fruit juice or something very, very sugary. When you have a lot of that sugar, it kind of messes up your hormone and your serotonin level. But let's get to the meat of this. Next slide, please. So one of the things, because we have a circadian rhythm, which means at night we should get sleepy, and then when it's morning, we should be more awake. One of the things to remember is we need to develop a realistic schedule that we can stick to 7 days a week. So, if it's 10 o'clock or 10:30 at night, and then getting up at 5:30 or 6:30 at the same time, that will really help to regulate all the different neurotransmitters in our brain to be very consistent, and trying not to change like Friday and Saturday night. Whoo-hoo, let's celebrate. Let's stay up real late. The other thing is, just before going to sleep, have your routine. You want to start dimming the lights. Not playing a very stressful video game. The lights from our screens, the blue light, will keep us awake. If you think about it, cavemen in the old days, when the sun set, everyone would go to sleep. When the sun rises, you wake up. So we need to be imitating that. The next thing would be, of course, avoiding, the foods that I talked about, but especially excessive amounts of fluids 1 or 2 hours before bedtime, because otherwise you'll be running to the bathroom constantly. It's important for us to get some sunshine and regular exercise. Now, I live in Hawaii, so right now, we have beautiful weather, 75 degrees, sunny. I know many of you are not that fortunate, but if you can somehow get yourself to even walk in place for 10 minutes every day. Try not to do it just before you go to sleep, but I think regular exercise would really help you to become more tired for the nighttime. Keep your bedroom temperatures to the mid to high 60s. Studies have shown that when it's warm, people have more difficulty falling asleep. Another obvious thing is, of course, limit daytime napping. We call it power naps, not sleeping more than 30 minutes. If you have a 2 or 3 hour nap in the afternoon, it's just going to make life very difficult. And finally, I like this, just taking a nice warm shower 1 or 2 hours before sleep. I don't know, sometimes mentally it's like I'm just washing all of my troubles away and just relaxing. So these are just some of the tips for better night's sleep. Now, on the next slide, I wanted to have time to talk about when you're actually laying down to rest and you just cannot sleep. If you're lying there, these are a couple of tools that I found were helpful for myself, and I wanted to share it with all of you. So the first one is deep breathing. Now, what I'm talking about is abdominal breathing. So what you can do, and we can even do this as an activity right now, if you just lay back and allow your tummy to rise, breathe through your nose, tummy out, hold it for a second, and then through your pursed lips, as you're blowing it out, feel your tummy go in. Now, your brain can really only focus on one thing at a time. And so it's very helpful. A lot of times, if I can't sleep, what I will do is do 3 or 4 of these abdominal breaths. And before I know it, I'm asleep and it's morning. So if you're tense, this can be very helpful. But again, it does take practice. Sometimes I have a little teddy bear that I just see it rising up and down. The other thing that I'll mention is something called mindfulness meditation. So if you keep focusing on your breath, of course, things from the day will start passing through, but just let it go without any judgment, and let it, if you get distracted, just get back. The other one the third one here is visualization. So visualization is This is what the Green Berets and our military uses. You just scan your body and you start from your head and go down to your toe. Just try to relax your brain and then your neck and then your shoulders, and you just progressively go down. And sometimes that's been quite helpful. And finally, there's something called repeating a mantra. I like to use, sometimes I'll just lie there and quietly, my husband doesn't want to hear it, but quietly I'll go, and sometimes that can relay a physical response. Now, I've seen a lot of chats. People have been asking on the chat, what is the appropriate amount? And I would say for adults, 7 to 9 hours. But again, there's always individual variations. And, a comment from Mary was, even if you get 8 hours, why do you still feel tired? Again, we can go into, there's REM sleep, and perhaps you may want to talk with your doctor about it, because I've been seeing more and more studies coming out, and it seems that more people are being diagnosed with sleep apnea. So that might be something that you might want to look into, as a sleep study. Because I'm a pediatrician, I saw there was a question about, how we live in such a hustle and bustle, fast-paced society right now, that sometimes, sleep is a low priority. So one of my main missions in my first book, The Happy Healthy Revolution, I talk about how we as a family, we need to all sit down together as a family unit and talk about what our top 3 goals are. We need to turn off the screens. And I tell parents and grandparents, we need to show our children that we love and care for them, and that we are all in together on this. And I think the success of a healthier lifestyle and passing on a healthy lifestyle to the next generation of children is, first, the parents need to know what the correct knowledge is. Yes, you're right. There's so many ideas on the internet, but just find a good source and say, guys, maybe for your family, maybe we do need to get more sleep, or maybe we're not getting any exercise. How about if we spend 10 minutes walking after dinner? I mean, just start to set a goal so you know what direction you're going into. And once you set that itty bitty step, I want you to visualize that family that you're becoming and say, no, every day we're going to do this. We're going to become that family that exercises and comes together and supports one another. And that's what I talk about in my first book. We have to learn to communicate with each other. Especially, one of the funniest homeworks I give my families is, I want you to say 10 nice things to your loved one, your family member this week. And people would come back and laugh, and it seems so ridiculous, but the people we love, sometimes we don't speak very kindly to them. And you wouldn't believe, like, oh, Mom, thank you for making such a wonderful dinner, or thank you for spending, picking me up from practice. And that had such an amazing result. And again, I think the whole key to getting our children to really understand the importance of health is if the parents, mother and father, grandparents, if they're involved, everyone's on the same page, working towards the same goal. And it's amazing because I see the adults getting healthier as well as the children. I've raised 4 children. I mentioned to you that I have gone through 2 depressions. Once when at 40 years of age, trying to juggle 6 days a week, working as a full-time pediatrician, and also, taking care of 4 active kids with no nanny, no help. And that was not fun. But, I think that, we all do what we have to do, but we have to understand that if we don't take care of ourselves, we cannot take care of others. And so one of the things, that whoever is out there in the Festival of Storytellers, please, it's so important that you take time to care for yourself. If you don't care for yourself, you will not be of any help to anyone else. That's why in the airlines, they say first put your oxygen mask on before you help your child. Because if you're passed out, you won't be able to help anyone. Anyway, I see we're kind of coming to a close, but tomorrow, come back to the live booth session. I want to just give a little bit of talk about nutrition and wellness. And I personally will talk about sugar and ultra processed foods and how I think that our food companies are killing us and our children. But I'll be here Thursday and Friday, and also next week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at the same time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also want to tell you that I'll be interviewed Author of the Hour on Saturday, January 27th, 6:30 to 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. I also invite you to mark on your calendars my roundtable. That's coming up on Friday, February 2nd, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to have, I believe, 8 to 10 authors, and we're just going to have how we can unleash our healthiest self. And I think it'll be a very dynamic hour of concerns. How can we have the healthiest 2024 ever? I hope that all of this was a little bit of help to you. Again, I think with our technology and computers, I want to get back to some of the old days where we didn't have so much technology. I want everyone to regroup. I want you to spend 5 minutes tonight sitting with your family and looking at your sleep habits, your eating habits, your use of technology, because we need to know where we are, what direction we want to go, and what are our priorities as a family. We're not going to, our habits have come from many, many years of doing bad habits. So don't overwhelm yourself. Just say today, this month, this week, take it day by day. This week, we're just going to try to go to bed by 10:30 p.m. Mom and dad are going to do the same thing. Start really small. Or if everyone's going to sleep at midnight, say, let's bring it down to 11:30. Make it something achievable so that after a week, and then what you do is you mark it off on your calendar and you celebrate as a family. We did it. Let's do it again tonight. And the more and more, every step you take, it's like a mountain climber. Every step you take every day is one step closer to the goal that you have set for your family. And I think you are going to be so proud of yourself. Don't let fear hold you back. Take that first step to say, hey guys, I heard this doctor talk about, getting a little bit healthier. I think it's good for all of us. Let's get grandma and grandpa in here, uncle and aunties. And I think the more support you can get, and be with like-minded friends and family members, the more you're going to be successful. So thank you, all of you out there, for the Festival of Storytellers. I hope you're enjoying this wonderful session. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Again, I'll be here 5 p.m. and I'll be talking about nutrition and how it definitely relates to wellness. And I appreciate all of you taking time out of your busy schedule, but spread the word. Tell everyone that, and again, there was a comment, caffeine has the opposite effect. Um, Everyone's different. So I appreciate your comments. And, we just have to know our own body and make adjustments. But I think getting to know your body and really taking inventory of where you're at and understanding that no matter where you are, it's never too late to get started. So I really want to be an encouragement. If you pick up my book, The Happy Healthy Revolution, you'll find so many more tips on how you can get your family on board. And one of the greatest gift I think we can give our children is the gift of good health. My 4 children grumbled. We're such an abnormal family, but do you know all 4 of them are extremely healthy right now? So again, another comment I forgot to mention, sometimes turning on music or listening to an audible podcast or book is also very helpful. So thank you for that, Anita. And again, I'm just so happy that all of you were able to join me, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Aloha from Hawaii. Stay warm. Take care.